The morning sun rose over New Busan like it had for 50 years. Children ran through the streets of the colony's capital. Farmers checked their crops in the green valleys. Ships came and went from the spaceport, carrying goods and dreams across the stars. It was a normal day on Kepler 4 to be humanity's proudest frontier world. Governor Park Tae-ho stood on his balcony and watched the city wake up. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent 30 years as a diplomat before taking this job. He believed in peace. He believed that different species could live together in harmony. That was why he had come to New Busan, to prove that humans could be good, as neighbors in the galaxy. 2.3 million people lived on this world. They had built hospitals and schools. They had planted forests and cleaned rivers. They had made something beautiful in the cold darkness of space. None of them knew that death was already falling toward them. The Velori Dominion had ruled their corner of the galaxy for 10,000 years. They were an old species, proud and cruel. They saw younger races as insects. Useful sometimes, but always beneath them. When humans had joined the galactic community 50 years ago, the Velori had watched with disgust. These soft creatures from a small blue world were spreading too fast, building too much, dreaming too big. The mineral deposits that human explorers found in the disputed sector gave the Velori the excuse they needed. There would be no warning, no declaration of war, no chance to surrender. Admiral Kang Woo-jin was drinking his morning coffee when the alarms started screaming. He was a small man with sharp eyes and a quick mind. He commanded the colony's defense fleet. 12 ships. That was all they had. That was all the galactic treaties allowed. He ran to the command center and saw the screens filled with red dots. Enemy ships. Hundreds of them. The largest Velori fleet anyone had ever seen. "Get me a channel to them," Woo-jin ordered. Now, the communication officer tried. The Velori did not answer. They simply opened fire. Woo-jin's 12 ships fought like heroes. They destroyed 17 enemy vessels before the last human ship exploded in a ball of fire. Woo-jin himself was thrown into an escape pod by his crew just before his ship died. He drifted in space and watched his people burn. The Velori fleet did not stop at the defense force. They turned their weapons on the planet itself. Dr. Yoon Hannah was teaching a class of young children about alien biology when the sky turned red. She was a small woman with kind eyes and gentle hands. She had come to New Busan to study the native plants. She had stayed because she fell in love with the colony's spirit. The first bomb hit the spaceport. The second hit the government building. Governor Tae-ho died instantly, still standing on his balcony, still believing in peace. Hannah grabbed as many children as she could. She ran through streets filled with smoke and screaming. Buildings fell around her. People she knew lay dead on the ground. She kept running. There were old mining tunnels beneath the city, deep underground. Built during the colony's early days, Hannah remembered them from a tour she had taken years ago. She led the children down into the darkness above them. New Busan burned. Lieutenant Shin Min-ho was supposed to be off duty that day. He was a young soldier with a bright smile and a hopeful heart. He had joined the military because he wanted to protect people. He had never fired his weapon at a living being. When the attack came, he was visiting his parents in the agricultural district. He watched his childhood home explode. He watched his mother reach for him through flames. He watched his father try to shield her body with his own. He could not save them. Something broke inside Min-ho that day. Something that would never heal. He ran toward the nearest military outpost. Dead soldiers lay everywhere. The Velori ground forces had already landed. They were not taking prisoners. They were hunting. Min-ho found a working communication terminal in the wreckage. His hands shook as he typed. Blood ran down his face from a wound he did not remember getting. He sent a distress signal toward Earth. A simple message. An SOS. A final cry for help. Then a Velori soldier found him. Min-ho killed for the first time that day. He would lose count by nightfall. The massacre lasted 3 days. The Velori were thorough. They went building by building, tunnel by tunnel. They found families hiding in basements. They found children crying in closets. They found old people praying in temples. They killed them all, and they recorded everything. High Speaker Morith, the Vellery ambassador to the galactic community, watched the footage with satisfaction. This was how you dealt with pests. This was how you reminded the younger races of their place. Humans had forgotten that they were small, that they were weak, that they existed only because greater species allowed it. The recordings would be sent to Earth. Let the humans see what happens when they reach too far, deep in the mining tunnels. Hannah held the children close. They had no food, little water, no way to know what was happening above. She told them stories to keep them calm. She sang songs to help them sleep. She promised them that help would come. She did not know if she believed it. 8,000 people survived the massacre. 8,000 out of 2.3 million. They hid in deep tunnels, in collapsed buildings, in places the Vellery scanners could not reach. They waited in darkness and silence. 3 days later, Admiral Wujin's escape pod was recovered by a passing human merchant ship. He was barely alive. His first words were a warning. The distress signal reached Earth the next morning. Military officers watched the footage in silence. Politicians wept in their chambers. Ordinary people stood frozen in the streets as the news spread. 2.3 million dead. Children executed. Cities burned to ash. A message from the Vellery that said humanity was nothing. Earth was quiet that night. But it was not the quiet of defeat. It was the quiet before a storm. The United Terran Council chamber had never been so quiet. 200 representatives from every nation on Earth sat in their seats. Their faces were pale. Their hands were shaking. On the massive screen before them, the footage from New Busan played again and again. Chancellor Im Soo-jin sat at the center of the high table. She was 62 years old. Her hair was silver. Her eyes were dark and deep. She had spent her entire life working for peace. She had signed treaties with 17 alien species. She had ended 3 border conflicts through words alone. She believed that violence was the tool of those who lacked imagination. Now she watched children being dragged from their homes and shot in the streets. The footage showed everything. The Vellery wanted humanity to see. They wanted humans to understand their place in the galaxy. They wanted fear. A young representative from Korea stood up. Tears ran down his face. How could they do this? He asked. His voice cracked. They killed everyone. Everyone my cousin lived there. She had a baby. A baby. No one could answer him. General Baek Junho sat in the military section of the chamber. He was an old soldier, with white hair and scars on his hands. He had fought in Earth's last war 60 years ago, before humanity reached the stars. He had thought those days were behind him. He watched the footage with different eyes. He did not see tragedy. He saw failure. The failure of trust. The failure of treaties. The failure of believing that others would play fair. The doors of the chamber opened. A holographic image appeared at the center of the room. It was High Speaker Morith of the Vellery Dominion. His alien face showed no emotion. His 4 eyes blinked slowly. People of Earth, Morith said. His voice was calm, almost bored. We have delivered justice to the colony known as New Busan. Your expansion into the disputed sector was a violation of galactic law. Your presence was not welcome. We have corrected this error. Chancellor Im stood up slowly. You murdered 2.3 million civilians, she said. You killed children. Fortunate, Morith replied. But necessary. Your species expands too quickly. You breed too fast. You take too much. This was a reminder of your place in the galaxy. We hope you have learned. He paused. His 4 eyes looked directly at the Chancellor. Expect your formal apology within 3 days. You will also withdraw from 5 additional sectors. These are non-negotiable terms. Refuse, and more corrections will follow. The hologram disappeared. The chamber exploded with noise. Representatives shouted and cried and demanded action. Some called for war. Others called for surrender. Fear filled the room like smoke. Chancellor Im raised her hand. The room fell silent. Clear the chamber, she said. Council members only. It took 10 minutes for everyone else to leave. The doors closed. Only 12 people remained. The 12 most powerful humans in existence. Im looked at them one by one. General Beak, she said. Tell them. The old soldier stood up. He pressed a button on his control panel. New images appeared on the screen. Ships, weapons, technology, things that should not exist. 50 years ago, when we joined the galactic community, we signed treaties limiting our military, Beak said. We agreed to destroy certain weapons. We agreed to stop certain research. We agreed to be civilized. He let the word hang in the air. We lied. The other council members stared at the screen. Ships larger than anything humanity had publicly built. Weapons that could crack planets open. Technology that the galaxy had banned for centuries. Project Silent Thunder, Beak continued. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belts. Secret research stations on distant moons. We never stopped developing. We never stopped preparing. We hoped we would never need these things. We prayed we were being paranoid. He looked at the screen showing the burning ruins of New Busan. We were not paranoid. We were wise. Chancellor Im stood up. The question before this council is simple, she said. Do we apologize? Do we surrender? Do we accept that 2.3 million of our people died for nothing? Or do we respond? The vote was taken in silence. 12 hands raised for war. 0 against. Im nodded slowly. Then we have work to do. 3 hours later, every screen in human space activated. Every channel, every frequency, every display. Chancellor Im appeared before humanity. Her face was calm. Her voice was steady. But there was something in her eyes that had never been there before. Something cold. Something ancient. People of Earth, she began. People of our colonies. Our brothers and sisters among the stars. You have seen what was done to New Busan. You have seen the bodies of our children. You have heard the excuses of those who murdered them. She paused. For 50 years, humanity has played by the rules. We joined the galactic community in good faith. We limited our ships. We shared our technology. We followed every law, signed every treaty, made every compromise. We believed that civilization meant something. We believed that others would treat us as we treated them. Her voice hardened. We were fools. The hidden ships. The secret weapons. The technology humanity had kept in the darkness. To the Valray Dominion, Im continued. You wanted us to learn our place. You wanted us to remember that we are small, that we are weak, that we exist only because greater species allow it. She leaned forward. We have learned, but not the lesson you intended. The images on screen shifted to show the Vellery fleet that destroyed New Busan. You asked for an apology? Here is our answer. She stood tall. Her eyes burned with cold fire. We are done being civilized. We are done following rules that only protect the strong. We are done being quiet and small and safe. You wanted to see what humans are capable of? You will see. And when your children ask why the stars went dark, tell them. Because your fathers woke something that should have been left sleeping. The broadcast ended. Across human space, sealed doors began to open. Engines that had waited for decades came to life. Soldiers who had trained for wars they thought would never come received their orders. The galaxy had wanted humanity to remember its place. Humanity remembered, and now it was time for the galaxy to learn what that meant. The galaxy expected a war. They expected fleets meeting in space. They expected formations and strategies and rules. They expected humans to fight like everyone else fought. They were wrong, Captain. Cho Youngji stood on the bridge of the TSS Vengeance and looked at her crew. They were not regular soldiers. They were volunteers. Every single person on this ship had lost someone on New Busan, parents, children, husbands, wives, friends. They had not come to fight a war. They had come for something older, something darker. Yeonji had lost her younger brother. He was 23 years old. He had just started his first job as a teacher. He had sent her a message the morning of the attack, telling her about a student who had made him laugh. That message was the last thing she had of him. The Vengeance was a Reaper-class dreadnought, the first of its kind. A ship built not for defense, but for destruction. It carried weapons that the galaxy had banned. Weapons that could tear holes in space itself. Weapons that could turn planets into dust. 11 more Reaper ships followed behind her. They called themselves the Morning Fleet. "All ships report ready," her first officer said. He was a young man named Yoon Tae-woo. His entire family had died on New Busan. "Set course for the Valori border," Yunji ordered. "Maximum speed. No running lights?" The fleet vanished into the darkness of space like wolves hunting in the night. Across the galaxy, Valoria were celebrating. High Speaker Moreth received congratulations from allied species. The humans had been taught their lesson. Everything would return to normal. Then their ship started dying. The first Valerie patrol fleet disappeared without sending a distress signal. 40 ships. Gone in an instant. The second fleet managed to send one word before dying. Humans. Colonel Nam Do-yun did not command a ship. He commanded ghosts. Ghost Protocol was humanity's most secret program. Special Forces soldiers trained in ways the galaxy could not imagine. They did not fight battles. They ended them before they began. Do-yun was 45 years old. He had a wife and 2 daughters on New Busan. He had been on Earth for a meeting when the attack happened. He had watched the footage of his family's neighborhood being bombed. He had seen their building collapse. He did not cry. He did not scream. He simply reported for duty and asked for the most dangerous mission available. His team used microjump technology. Ships could not jump into enemy vessels. That was basic physics. But a single human in a special suit could. It was insane. It was suicidal. It was exactly what the Vellery never expected. Do-yun and his team jumped directly onto the bridge of the Vellery command ship Divine Light. They appeared from nowhere. 12 humans in black armor, carrying weapons designed to kill quickly and quietly. The Valori admiral had 2 seconds to feel fear before he died. Do-yun's team moved through the ship like shadows. They killed anyone they found. They corrupted the navigation systems. They turned the Divine Light's weapons against its own fleet. Then they jumped away, leaving only bodies and burning metal behind. The Valori commanders started locking themselves in secure rooms. It did not help. The humans always found a way inside. Fear spread through the Valori military like a disease. Officers refused to sleep. Crews turned on each other, suspecting every shadow. The humans were ghosts. The humans were monsters. The humans were everywhere. On Earth, Dr. Yoon Hana arrived at a secret research facility beneath the mountains of Korea. She had been rescued from New Busan 2 weeks earlier. She had survived in the tunnels for 11 days with 17 children. When the rescue ships finally came, she was barely alive. Now she stood before a group of scientists and generals. "We want you to help us develop a weapon," the lead scientist said. Her name was Beek Somi. She was brilliant and cold. A bioweapon. Something designed specifically for Valori biology. Hana stared at her. "You want me to help you create a plague?" "Yes, I'm a xenobiologist. I study alien life because I find it beautiful. I came to New Busan to understand other species, not destroy them." Somi nodded. "I understand. You can refuse. No one will force you." She handed Hannah a folder. "But before you decide, look at this." The folder contained photographs. Hannah recognized them immediately. The children from her class, the ones she had tried to save, the 17 who made it to the tunnels. "We tracked down what happened to the children in your care," Somi said. 11 of them survived. 6 did not. The Valori found them in the tunnels on the 8th day. Hana's hands began to shake. They were recorded. Like everyone else, Hannah looked at the photographs. She remembered their faces, their laughs, their dreams. She remembered promising them that everything would be okay. She closed the folder. "Show me to the laboratory," she said. "Lieutenant Shin Min-ho." now promoted to captain, stood before a volunteer squad on the surface of New Busan. The planet was still burning in some places. The air was still toxic. But humans had returned. Our mission is simple, Minho said. There are survivors still hiding in the deep tunnels. The Violori patrols are still hunting them. We get our people out. Every single one. His squad was small. 30 soldiers against an unknown number of Valori hunters. The odds were terrible. No one complained. They moved through the ruins of the capital city. Bodies lay everywhere. Buildings had become tombs. The wind carried the smell of death. Minho felt nothing. That part of him had died with his parents. What remained was something harder. Something that did not feel fear or doubt or mercy. They found the first group of survivors in a collapsed school basement. 43 people, mostly elderly. They had been hiding for weeks, drinking rainwater and eating rats. Is Earth coming? An old woman asked. Is anyone coming to save us? Minho helped her to her feet. Earth already came, he said. And we are not here to save you. We are here to take you home, so you can watch what happens next. The old woman looked at his eyes and saw what was inside him. Good, she whispered. Make them pay. Across 47 Valori star systems, humanity's answer was being delivered. Not with words, not with treaties, not with civilized negotiations, with fire. Varith Prime had never been touched by war. For 10,000 years, the Valori homeworld had watched other species burn while remaining safe behind its walls. 3 massive defense fleets circled the planet. Orbital weapons platforms covered every approach. Underground shelters could protect the population for centuries. It was the most defended world in the galaxy. Admiral Kang Woo-jin looked at it through his command screen and felt nothing but cold determination. He had floated in space and watched New Busan die. He had been rescued half-dead from his escape pod. He had spent months recovering, watching the war begin without him. Now he commanded the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled. 200 warships of various sizes. 12 Reaper-class dreadnoughts. 400,000 soldiers ready for ground combat. The hegemony of aligned worlds had sent messages begging humanity to stop. They spoke of proportionality. They spoke of galactic law. They spoke of civilization. Wu Jin deleted every message without reading it. All ships, he said into the fleet-wide channel. This is Admiral Kang. In 3 hours, we attack Varith Prime. We will break through their defenses. We will land on their world. We will make them answer for what they did. He paused. Many of us will die today. But those who survive will tell their children that they were here, that they stood up when humanity needed them, that they refused to let our people be murdered without consequence. His voice hardened. Remember New Busan? Remember our dead? Now let us give them justice. The fleet jumped forward as one, the Battle of Varith. Prime lasted 9 days. The Valori defense fleets were massive and well-trained. They had never lost a battle in their long history. Their commanders were confident. Their soldiers were proud, but they had never faced anything like humanity's rage. The first wave of human ships broke against the Valor lines like water against stone. Dozens of vessels exploded. Thousands of soldiers died in the darkness of space. The Valori commanders smiled. The humans were destroying themselves. Then the Reaper dreadnoughts arrived. Captain Cho Yunji led the morning fleet directly into the center of the Valori formation. Her ship, the Vengeance, was taking damage from every direction. Fires burned on multiple decks. Her crew was dying around her. She did not stop. Target the main orbital platform, she ordered. All weapons. Everything we have. Captain, we won't survive the approach, her first officer said.
I know.
Yunji opened a channel to the entire human fleet. This is Captain Cho of the Vengeance. We are making our final run. All ships, follow our opening. Break through and take the planet. She looked at her crew. These men and women who had volunteered for death, who had given everything for vengeance. For every child they murdered, she said. For every dream they burned. The Vengeance accelerated toward the orbital platform. Valori ships tried to block her path. She destroyed them or pushed through them. Her ship was falling apart. Her engines were failing. But she kept going. "For New Busan," she whispered. The Vengeance hit the orbital platform at full speed. The explosion lit up the sky of Virath Prime like a new sun. The platform shattered. The defensive line broke. Yonji and her entire crew died instantly. They had given the fleet its opening. Admiral Woojin gave the order. "All ships, advance. Ground forces prepare for landing." 60 human ships made it through the gap. The rest continued fighting in space. The ground invasion had begun. Colonel Nam Doyon was the first human to set foot on Valori soil. He and his Ghost Protocol team jumped ahead of the main force, peering directly inside the Planetary Defense Headquarters. They killed everyone inside in 4 minutes. "Defense grid is down," Doyon reported. "Landing zones are clear." Human army descended from the sky like an avalanche. Dropships by the hundreds. Soldiers by the tens of thousands. They landed in the capital city and began their advance. The fighting was brutal. Street by street. Building by building. The Valori fought hard. They were defending their home, their families, their entire way of life. But the humans fought harder. They had pictures of New Busan in their pockets. They had names of the dead written on their armor. They had rage in their hearts that made them unstoppable. High Speaker Moreth tried to flee on the 3rd day. His private shuttle was intercepted by a human patrol ship. He was dragged from the wreckage and brought to the human command post in chains. The war ended on the 9th day. The Valori government surrendered unconditionally. Moreth was brought before a tribunal of human survivors. The judges were not soldiers or politicians. They were civilians. People who had lived through New Busan. People who had lost everything. Dr. Yoon Hana sat in the front row. Beside her were some of the children she had saved. They were older now, harder. They had seen things no child should see. Park Tae-ho's widow was there. Governor Tae-ho had died on his balcony, believing in peace until the very end. His wife had been off-world at the time. She had survived to see justice. Marath was given a chance to speak. "This is not civilized," he said. His voice was calm, even now. "Galactic law requires proper procedures, proportional responses. What you are doing is barbarism." Park Tae-ho's widow stood up. She was a small woman with white hair and eyes that had cried until they had no tears left. "You spoke of teaching us our place," she said. "You spoke of corrective action. You murdered children and called it justice. You burned cities and called it necessary." She stepped closer to him. "You taught us what civilization means in this galaxy. You taught us that rules only protect the strong. You taught us that mercy is weakness." She looked at the tribunal judges. They nodded. "We learned," she said. "We learned well." The verdict was guilty. The sentence was death. The execution was broadcast across the galaxy. Marath died knowing that his empire had died with him. On Virath Prime, the Valori flag came down. The human flag did not go up. This was not conquest. This was justice. The surviving Valori were not enslaved. They were not massacred. They were simply told, "Remember this. Tell your children. Tell your children's children. This is what happens when you slaughter the innocent." The galaxy watched in silence. Humanity had proven what it could become when pushed too far now. Everyone wondered what would they become next. 1 year had passed since New Busan burned. The galaxy was different now, quieter, more careful. The old order had been broken, and something new was taking its place. Chancellor Sujin stood before the new Galactic Assembly. It met on neutral ground, a space station built specifically for this purpose. Representatives from 40 species sat in curved rows, watching the human leader with a mixture of respect and fear. "We did not want this war," said. Her voice was calm but heavy with exhaustion. The past year had aged her. "We did not want to become what we became. When we joined the galactic community, we dreamed of friendship, of cooperation, of building something beautiful together." She paused. But you left us no choice. When you slaughter the innocent, when you murder children to make a point, you awaken something in humanity that even we feared. Something old. Something dangerous. Something that does not forgive. The chamber was silent. We are not proud of what we did, Im continued. We will carry the weight of this war forever. But we will never apologize for surviving. We will never apologize for protecting our people. We will never apologize for showing the galaxy that humans are not prey. She looked around the room. Let this be the lesson that all species remember. Humanity wants peace. We truly do. But if you force us to become monsters, we will become monsters more terrible than you can imagine. The choice is yours. We hope you choose wisely. She sat down. The chamber remained silent for a long time. The Valerie Dominion no longer existed. Their 47 star systems were now under human protection. Not as conquests, but as reminders. The Valerie people still lived. They still had their homes and their families. But their military was gone. Their empire was gone. Their pride was gone. They would rebuild eventually. Everyone does. But they would never forget what happened when they attacked humanity. Dr. Yoon Hana returned to New Busan. The planet was being rebuilt. New colonists were arriving every day. New buildings were rising from the ashes. Life was returning to the world that had been turned into a graveyard. She walked through the ruins of the capital city until she reached a place she remembered. The school where she had been teaching when the attack began. It was rubble now. Nothing but broken stone and twisted metal. Workers were constructing something new in the empty space. A memorial. 2.3 million names carved into black stone, arranged in circles around a central flame that would burn forever. Hannah found a bench and sat down. She watched the workers for hours. She did not speak. She did not cry. She had done enough crying. Dr. Yoon. She looked up. A young woman stood before her. It took Hannah a moment to recognize her. One of the children from her class, the ones she had hidden in the tunnels. The girl was older now, taller. Her eyes held a darkness that had not been there before. I heard you would be here, the girl said. I wanted to thank you. For saving us. For keeping us alive until help came. Hannah tried to smile. You don't need to thank me. I just did what anyone would do. No, the girl said. Not anyone, you. She sat down beside Hannah. I'm going to become a doctor. I decided last month. I want to help people the way you helped us. Hannah felt something warm in her chest. A small light in the darkness. It's wonderful, she said. I think you'll be a great doctor. They sat together and watched the memorial being built. Captain Shin Min-ho stood on the bridge of his new ship. The TSS New Busan. It was a patrol vessel assigned to the frontier. His job was to watch the borders of human space and make sure nothing like the massacre ever happened again. He was 29 years old now. He had killed more people than he could count. He had seen things that would haunt him forever, but he had also saved lives. He had rescued survivors from the tunnels. He had protected the innocent. That was what kept him going. It's Captain. We're receiving a transmission from Earth, his communications officer said. Put it through. The image of Admiral Kang Woojin appeared on the screen. The old admiral had retired after the war. He lived in a small house on the coast of Korea now. But he still kept in touch with those who had served under him, Min-ho Woojin said. How are you? Fine, sir. Quiet patrol. Nothing to report. Woojin nodded slowly. Good. Quiet is good. Quiet means we did our job. He paused. I wanted to tell you something. Something I should have said a long time ago. What you did on New Busan, sending that distress signal, then going back to save survivors. You saved humanity. Not just the people in those tunnels. All of us. If we hadn't known in time, if we hadn't been able to respond, I know, sir. Woojin looked at him with old, tired eyes. We proved we could be monsters. Now we have to prove we can be something else. I believe you can help with that. I believe in you, Min-ho. The transmission ended. Min-ho looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, new colonies were being built. Children were being born. Dreams were taking shape. Humanity was growing again, spreading across the galaxy, like it always had. But now everyone knew what happened to those who threatened that growth. On a distant Velori world, a young child asked her parent a question. Why don't we have parades anymore? Why don't we celebrate our warriors like in the old stories? Her parent looked toward the stars, toward the direction of human space, toward the distant light of worlds they had once tried to destroy. Because we woke the quiet ones, the parent whispered. And we learned that some species should never be pushed too far. The child did not understand. Not yet, but she would learn. Every Velori child would learn. Every species in the galaxy would learn. Humanity had returned to building, to creating, to dreaming. They wanted peace again. They truly did, but in their hearts they kept the fire burning. Just in case the galaxy remembered New Busan. The galaxy remembered what humanity became when its children were murdered, and the galaxy stayed very, very quiet.